Good evening, everyone. Welcome to GSS Core. This is Ajay Shah. So let's start the discussion of 10 MCQs from current affairs. And for the next 7 classes, we are going to cover current affairs from economics, India Airbook, and we will also cover some major government schemes. This is the first question for you. And the first question says, with reference to banning of unregulated deposit scheme Act 2019, consider the following statements. The first says it provides for a single regulator to oversee various deposit taking schemes. This statement is factually wrong as per the Act, because the Act says there will be 9 regulators which has been mentioned in Schedule 1 of the Act, which will oversee and regulate various deposit taking schemes. Now the second statement says fraudulent default in a regulated deposit scheme is an offense as per the Act. This can be solved by common sense because it is correct. And so some validations. What is this? So what will be the correct answer? Correct answer will be option number B. Now let us see some validation for banning of unregulated deposits scheme Act 2019. So the Act says that it provides for a mechanism to ban unregulated deposit schemes and protect the interest of the depositors. The Act defines a deposit as an amount of money received through an advance, a loan, or in any other form with a promise to be returned with or without interest. A deposit taking scheme is defined as unregulated if it is taken for a business purpose and it is not registered with the regulators like RBI for NBFC, then SEBI for mutual fund, central and state governments for cheat fund. Now all the deposit taking schemes are required to be registered with the relevant regulator. It provides for the central government to designate an authority to create an online central database for information on deposit takers. All deposit takers will be required to inform the database authority about their businesses. The competent authority will be required to share all the information on the unregulated deposits with the authority. That's all. We'll move to the next question. Now this question is a very factual question. So let us see. Consider the following statements regarding recently announced national manufacturing policy. The first statement says it aims to enhance the technological depth and environment sustainability of growth in the manufacturing sector. This statement is correct. The second says at least 30% of the total land area proposed for the national investment and manufacturing zones will be utilized for the location of manufacturing units. This statement is also correct. The third says the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade is the nodal agency for NIMZ. This statement is also correct. Basically all the statement 1, 2 and 3 are correct. So D will be the correct answer. Now this question is self-explanatory. We'll move to the next question. Now this question is again a purely factual question. The question says about CAFE regulation which has been seen in the news. It is related to climate mitigation, automobile sector, food processing sector, or export promotion policies. So what do you think? What is the correct answer? The correct answer is option number B, that is automobile sector. So let us see what is this CAFE. So CAFE stands for Corporate Average Fuel Efficiency Economy Regulations. Now why this was in news? Because while the government is looking to advance the 2030 deadline for Indian manufacturers to switch over to electric vehicles in the segments such as bikes and 3-wheelers, manufacturers are basically opposing it. They instead want government to curb the vehicular pollution through CAFE regulation. They aim at lowering the fuel consumption for improving fuel efficiency of vehicles by lowering carbon dioxide emissions, thus serving the twin purpose of reducing dependency on oil for fuel and also controlling the pollution. Now CAFE norms are require the cars to be 30% or more fuel efficient from 2022 and 10% or more between 2017 and 2021. That's all. Question number 4, again a factual question. World Economic Outlook is published by International Monetary Fund, World Economic Forum, World Bank. None of the above. So what is the correct answer? The correct answer is International Monetary Fund, IMF. So you must take note of this kind of questions, because nowadays UPSC is asking a lot of questions on reports, commissions, and the institution which basically publish the reports. Okay, so let's move to the question number 5. So question number 5 is on consider the following statements regarding direct tax code. The first statement says it is an attempt by the government of India to simplify the direct tax laws in the country. So it can be solved by common sense. Of course, any of the act simplify the complicated laws. So first statement is correct. The second statement says it will replace the income tax at 1961 only. So this is wrong because it will replace the Income Tax Act 1961 and other direct tax legislations like the Wealth Tax 1957 also. So only one is the correct answer. So A is the correct answer here. So some validation. So direct tax code is an attempt by Government of India to simplify the direct tax laws in the India, and DTC will revise, consolidate, simplify the structure of direct taxes laws in India into a single legislation. That's all. Now question number 6 is again a factual question. Global Innovation Index is published by World Economic Forum, Human Development Innovation Fund, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, and World Intellectual Property Organization. This is a very easy question because it looks also, so D will be the correct answer, World Intellectual Property Organization. So let us see some validation about Global Innovation Index. So basically why this was in news, because India has improved its ranking in Global Innovation Index 2019 by 5 notches to 52nd position in a survey of innovation capacity among 129 countries by World Intellectual Property Organization. India has also outperformed on innovation relative to its GDP per capita for 9 consecutive years and only matched by 3 other countries, that is Vietnam, Moldova and Kenya. India improved its ranking in 4 out of 7 pillars such as knowledge and technology, then market sophistication, then human resource and research, also in institutions. That's all. Now just for evaluation you can note down the global ranking. So Switzerland stands at rank 1, then we have Sweden rank 2, USA rank 3, then Netherlands rank 4, UK rank 5 and India is rank 52. Which of the following is a legacy dispute resolution scheme which is offered to those taxpayers who wish to disclose any previously undisclosed tax liability without any penalty or prosecution? So which is that scheme? Sabka Vishwas scheme, then Kalia scheme, Pearl scheme, Pandit Dayal Upadhyaya Shramev Jayate Yojana. Which is the correct answer? Correct answer is Sabka Vishwas scheme, option number A. So what is this Sabka Vishwas scheme? So the scheme targets those taxpayers who want to disclose their pending disputes related to service tax and excise tax, which is now subsumed under good and services tax. The two main components of the scheme are dispute resolution and amnesty. The dispute resolution component is aimed at liquidating the legacy cases of central excise and service tax that are now the part of GST and are pending in the litigation at various forums. The amnesty component of the scheme offers an opportunity to taxpayers to pay the outstanding tax and be free of any kind or any other consequences under the law. That's all. Question number 8. So this question says, which of the following statements are correct as per Bimal Jalan panel's recommendation to review RBI's economic capital framework? So first says RBI has to maintain the contingency risk buffer to handle the financial stability of the country. This statement is correct. The second says it recommended a review of RBI's economic capital framework in every 5 years. This statement is also correct. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct. C is the correct answer. Now, so validation. So why this was in news? Because Reserve Bank of India accepted the recommendations of Bimal Jalan panel set up to review the RBI's economic capital framework. Following this recommendation, RBI decided to transfer 1.7 lakhs crores in the dividend and surplus reserves to the government. The objective of the economic capital framework is to build harmony between the central bank's need for autonomy and also central government's objectives of the development. Now let us see some of the recommendations of the committee. So it said something like RBI to mandate the contingency risk buffer, which is the country's fund to handle financial stability. Then it also spoke about a recommendation, a review of the RBI's economic capital framework every 5 years, and RBI's accounting year of July to June can be brought in sync with the fiscal of April to March from the financial year 2020-2021. That's all. Question number 9. Consider the following statements with respect to world skills competition. The first says the 45th World Skills Competition was held at New Delhi. This statement is wrong because the 45th World Skills Competition was held in Kazan, Russia and not in New Delhi. The second says it is the biggest vocational education and skills excellence event in the world which is organized every 2 years. This statement is correct. Only 2 is the correct statement here, so B will be the correct answer. This is a self-explanatory question. We'll move to the last question. The question number 10, this is the last question. And consider the following statements regarding open acreage licensing policy. The first says it gives an option to a company looking for exploring hydrocarbons to select the exploration blocks on its own without waiting for the formal bid round from the government. So this appears to be a little tricky, but this is true because government has recently changed it to make to achieve the target of ease of doing business. Then statement 2 says setting up of national data repository is one of the milestones achieved by open acreage license policy. This statement is also correct. Both statement 1 and 2 are correct, so C will be the correct answer here. Now some validations. So what is this open acreage licensing policy? So it gives an option to the company looking for exploration of hydrocarbons to select the exploration blocks on its own without waiting for the formal bid round from the government. Now OLAP is a bidder in this, a bidder intending to explore hydrocarbons like oil and gas, then coal bed, methane, then gas hydrate may apply to the government seeking exploration to any new block not already covered by the exploration. Now the government will examine the expression of interest and justification. If it is suitable for reward, government will call for the competitive bids after obtaining necessary environmental and other clearance. So that's all for today. I hope you liked the class. So please like and subscribe our channel for more such videos. Thank you very much.